The politic of fear is something that is not only concerning the relationship between Europe and Muslims, it's also something that exists in our own country, I mean in Muslim majority countries, especially when the population start to have some requests about some questions that were usually considered as sacred or as untouchable, immutable questions. And one of these questions is, of course, the question related to the status of women in Muslim societies, to what our religion, our culture, Islam, can allow to do and cannot allow to do, and to what extent women can have a life with more dignity, more equality, more equity, etc., etc. Nothing can be changed in our society without taking into account our history as Muslim countries. This meant that for these NGOs, for these women, for these men, we had to go back to our books and to our references and to our history to see how we could use the founding principles of equity, justice, equality, and so on, and to show to the population that we can make our law much more equitable and much more progressist and much more modern without touching the fundament of our culture, which is Islam. Patriarchal law, we know that historically it was also built on some religious practices and some religious beliefs in between. I mean, I don't think that these are beliefs, but much more religious practices or supposed religious practices. And we know that in Muslim countries, up to now, most of the family laws are built on the historic Islamic, the so-called Islamic jurisprudence, which is the fiqh. And this Islamic jurisprudence was built since the 6th and 7th century in a very different historical context. But up to now, in many, if not all, except Turkey maybe, many, if not all Muslim countries, family laws are built on this jurisprudence. So in Morocco, we went through a process of changing the family law, and it took us, in fact, it took 30 years of work, advocacy, debates, and so on, that were carried out with, by NGOs, women NGOs, human rights NGOs, researchers, academicians, scholars, and so on. It ended in February 2004 by a new family code, which really changed completely the founding principles of the relationship between a man and a woman within the family, bringing partnership, mutual respect, sharing responsibility, rather than obedience of the wife to the husband, rather than the total responsibility, or supposed to be the total responsibility of men over the family, and so on. In fact, we had, it was not timely, it was not first, but we had definitely to change completely the philosophy of the relationship between the man and woman. Changing the obedience by mutual respect and by partnership, it meant that we had to go to this, what I call the qiwama axiom. You know what is an axioma? An axioma is something that doesn't need to be demonstrated. For 14th centuries, Muslims used to say that this is in the Quran, man is superior to woman. And this is what I call the qiwama axiom. In fact, we had to go to deconstruct these axioms to show that we can read and interpret the same verses of the Quran in another way. And that the qiwama means to be capable of taking care of women. But if the situation has changed, and we know that 1 out of 5 families in Morocco now is headed by a woman, it means that the qiwama can be in the other side. So there is nothing definitely fixed. So it's better to go to some partnership and to go to mutual respect rather than obedience and superior hierarchy within the family. I think that the process was by itself very interesting, very educating, very productive, not only by the family code that we had, but also by the fact that it introduced a larger debate in the whole society about the way we are thinking the religion, the way we can face the current situation of the country, and the way we can adapt our laws with the situation, with the need of the society, with the way we want to be in the future, being still in conformity with the founding principle of Islam rather than with some rules that were decided 12th century before that.